Hi everyone. So here we have our lovely friend Jill, and she has this really cool design. Do you like that? That's with the wildflowers. One of the wildflowers glitters. I love it. So I am going to show you guys how to hand file off your 30-day manicure. So for some of you, you don't use a drill, you're afraid of using a drill, you haven't been trained on using a drill yet, and so you are wondering if you don't use an e-file or a drill. Drill is the bad, politically not correct terminology, so we should say electric file so we don't get anyone really angry. So if you don't use an electric file, you can still do it with a hand file. So I use a 100 grit file. Make sure you take your edges off really, really well. Hold your arm down really solid on your table. And I start typically with one side and then go to the other. I'm going to move this out of the way. It's kind of in my way. I don't use the Valentino when I hand file because I can't get my arm really good and anchored. You want to keep your arm anchored so that you're not flailing in a way. Keeping your arm anchored is going to make it so that you can get more pressure on with your file and file properly. So very easy to file the color off, especially Luxio. Options takes a little bit more to file off because it's a little bit softer of a gel, and I find that softer gels are a little bit different to file. And then shorten and smooth out the top. And what I typically do when I am doing a hand filing technique, instead of using an e-file, is prep the cuticle at the same time. So go around and prep your new growth, because you don't want to have to come back and do all of that again. So you're doing both at once. So I find that I can do my prep work and removing the old color and length just as fast with a hand file, because you're not going back afterwards and prepping and reshaping. You're doing all your shaping, all your prep work, all your everything at one time. I would say I can typically get all of her nails done and all of this prep work done in about 15 minutes. So on the clock, I'm always looking at my time, and I want to be putting on new gel at the half an hour mark. So whether I'm using an e-file, doing cuticle work, doing it by hand, anything like that, I want to get everything prepped and ready to go for new product at the half hour mark. And that's going to typically keep me on time to get everything done within an hour. Whether I'm doing art or anything like that, it gets it all done within an hour. So once I've got color kind of disappearing, I work a little bit slower around the cuticle once I've gotten it through. Now obviously there was a little bit more top gloss on that nail because I wanted to make sure that her little design there, those big sparkles, didn't go anywhere, so I used Options Clear. So there's a little bit more to go through on this nail to get down to the color. But I'm shaping the nail as I'm doing this so that I'm getting my prep work done, my shaping done, everything done all at once. Whereas when I take the color off with an electric file, I do all of that and then I go through and shape it. But when you do this technique, you're doing all the shaping and everything at one shot. So again, go around, do your new growth. You're starting the cuticles push back. I will go around and check with her cuticles again before we apply any product, push them back, scrape them with the side of the file that requires the scraping. And then we will apply Potion, which is her favorite. Jill's laughing. It's true. It is beautiful. I can show you guys Potion on camera before I turn this off because you guys should see it. It is by far one of the best fall colors to have. Say that again?
It's my favorite.
It's my favorite. Jessica says it's my favorite. It is. It's a favorite for sure. So again, when I'm going around the cuticle, I typically slow down a little bit, lighten up a little bit, because you are using a 100 grit file, so you don't want to go crazy when you're working around the cuticle. You can use a 100 grit file and not cause damage. It's about how you're applying pressure and where you're applying pressure that makes all the difference. And the reason I'm bouncing around kind of all over the place is because you can create heat just as fast as you can create it with an electric file. So you don't want to just concentrate on one spot on the whole nail the whole time, or you're going to end up creating heat. And so you don't want to do that. There's a little tiny bit of lift there, so I'm just going to remove that. When you have lift, you want to be real careful not to overfile and cause any rings of fire, because you can do that with a hand file just as easily as you can with an electric file.
Would you call it a ring of fire?
Ring of fire. You see it a lot at non-standard / discount salons. When people that don't understand how to use an electric file use them improperly and create red lines all the way around. Those are called rings of fire. You don't get those, so you don't know what they look like, because I don't get that. So you guys can see, you can get through the gel pretty quickly here, especially if you're using a really good file. So typically I'm only going to use a hand file if for some reason both my hand pieces are broken, but I have a backup because if you're going to do 19 clients in a day or 10 clients in a day, I don't do 19. Let's see, the most I normally do is 14. So.
Scott is asking, are you going to hand file all of her nails, or just showing you what to do if you don't have an e-file?
I'm showing you what to do if you don't have an e-file. I'm only doing this because I had some questions on people that weren't used to electric files, weren't sure how to do this process without an electric file, and if it was even time effective. And it can be. You just have to know what tools to use, which is a really good high quality 100 grit file, and know to shape it and everything at the same time. Don't waste your time coming back to it later. Do everything at one time, so that you've got the new growth prepped and all the gel removed. Oh, sorry, I'm just getting one of my test brushes. So far so good. Just have one more here to go on this hand. So I'm gonna move, because now this is getting warm. So you don't want to continue in the same spot. You want to move around on the nails so that you don't create a lot of heat. Now, if you were doing it this speed without that base layer of hard gel, and you were just only had, say, base coat, color, and top coat, you still have to go through all of the color layer. And now you're working on a nail that doesn't have a hard gel base. Well, the hard gel base is actually protecting the nail from heat. So if you were to do it this fast on a nail with just base coat, you're gonna get heat a lot faster. That layer of hard gel, whether it's enhanced or natural, is really gonna protect the nail from getting hot. So you don't get the heat like you would otherwise if you're just trying to do it on the natural nail without it. Aren't they awesome? Beautiful. I sell them at lovenails.com along with these files, the Accents 100 grit files. I love them. But yeah, these are disinfectable. You can soak them. We have a bucket that we toss them into, and then when we are running low, we soak the whole bucket, scrub them all, and let them dry. And then we have a nice pile ready to go. So I probably have about 30 that we wash at once.
You might be making a motion sick, you know?
I'm making the motion sick? Well, it's
might
not
be.
attached to my head.
I know.
I
but
did
thing's
try
just
that
flying
once.
in front of them.
Yeah, I did try getting a camera once that attached to my head. This is why I haven't done videos till now. And I couldn't stay still enough. And it made me motion sick, so I did not make them anymore with that camera. So this lovely little piece of equipment works really well for getting videos out to everyone. So I want to make sure that I've got it nice and thinned out. If you guys look down the barrel, it's pretty much just her natural nail with a very thin layer of gel on there, because I'm going to go ahead with the 30-day manicure, which is another very thin layer of gel. So I want to keep everything thin. If you don't remove some of that every time they come in, then your nails are just going to get thicker and thicker, and you don't want that. You want to keep it nice and thin and natural looking. All right, so there's one hand. We're ready to go to the next hand. But I'm going to go switch to my e-file because I still have to work for more clients. So, but there you go, my friends. Have a good one.